Well, hello everybody. Uh, I was going to say welcome back, but this is your first time seeing us. So hello out there in YouTube land or Facebook land or wherever you're seeing this. My name is Paul Owen, and my co-host over there is Kate Taddick, and we are going to do a photography podcast. And so, as its name says, we want to start talking a little bit about photography, sharing some of our experiences with you guys, and hopefully, you guys share some experiences with us. The name of this podcast is called Snapshots and Stories. And basically, that's what it's all about. It's all about taking photographs, and then the photographs, if they're taken well enough, I guess, or with the intent that they were meant, they should tell a story. And every photograph should tell a story. That's why we take photos, because they're visual stories. So anyway, I'm from Hampton, New Brunswick, Canada, and I've been a photographer for, oh, I don't know, I'm going to say 10, 12 years, maybe something like that. Started out in astrophotography, got my feet wet there. Then I decided I wanted to delve a little bit more into photography. And I'll let Kate tell you a little bit about that in terms of how we met, and that story will unfold on its own. And what we're planning on doing here is, of course, is talking about photographs, talking about equipment, talking about anything photography, really. If you're a beginner photographer and you want some tips and some help and that kind of stuff, then hopefully we'll be able to offer that to you. If you're an advanced photographer, then perhaps even you'll teach us something. So this broadcast isn't about us; it's about everyone in the photography community, and it's just a platform so that us photographers can talk about photography and ask questions and hopefully get inspired. So anyway, that's my little spiel, and I'm going to pass it over to Kate.
Hey, thanks, Paul. Yeah, so I've been introduced. My name is Kate Taddick, and I grew up just outside Hampton, lived a few places over the years, and now I'm back in Hampton and have become friends with Paul. And we had a creative connection pretty much right away. Uh, I've always kind of had some sort of camera in my hand as a kid. It was a disposable camera, or I had like an Olympic or Olympia film camera one year when I was 15. Excuse me, but it was when I was heading out west. I grabbed my first DSLR and snapped pictures along the way. And then in 2010, a friend of mine asked me to photograph a wedding. I had zero experience, but she said, "I like your eye. I think you do a good job." So I did that, and it, awakened my love for telling a story. Well, a wedding is a big story to tell, and I just love telling stories through photos, whether it's the light coming in your kitchen in the morning, maybe your wedding, maybe your family photos, maybe whatever. So it really never stops. Um, yeah, so I'm really excited to do this podcast with Paul and just kind of get to know photographers in the community and beyond and just see what they're doing and to have them, interact with us with their own photos, comment on the stuff that we put up. I'm really interested to see what we're going to uncover with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to do what Kate said we're going to do. Actually, how Kate and I met was kind of funny. About, I don't know, I guess it'd be two
Oh
years
yeah.
ago now. I was on this show with that Mark Hemmings and Matt Brown did, called Shutter Speed Photography Challenge, and what it was a week long elimination photography show that we had six photographers start, and each one of us had to do a certain type of photography every day.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the best one won that challenge, and the worst one had to go home. So it was one of those, kind of elimination programs. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot from that, especially from the crew. I learned a lot from the photographers and, of course, from Mark. But the crew, I watched them work so professionally and watched them how they seamlessly put all this together and made such an amazing show. It really piqued my interest to get more into photography, which is what it was based on, and learn a lot about all the things that they did to come off as professional as they did. So it was a wonderful experience. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was so much fun, and I learned an absolute lot from it. And then from there, Kate, what happened with you?
Yeah, so just in May 2024 for me, I applied to be on this show, Shutter Speed Photography Competition, season 2. And it was just like Paul said, it was a week of elimination style photography. You were brought to locations and you were given a category of what to shoot, but you didn't know what you were doing until that morning. So there was really no prep or anything like that. And then you had 15, 20 minutes or less to shoot, this photo and move on to the next day. So it was a lot of pressure. It was under pressure shooting. It was under pressure learning. It introduced me to studio photography and drone photography. And in fact, during my interview to be on the show, I said, I just have to say, like, if there's going to be if drone is part of the competition, like, count me out. I don't even want to be on the show. And then magically drones appeared in day 4. So you know what, though, I loved it, and I can't wait to get one of my own. So yeah, so I learned a lot from that show. And so that was in May. A couple months go by. I'm in a Canada Day outdoor marketplace in Hampton, and my husband pats me on the shoulder and he points at a man. He says, "Oh, I think that's Paul from season 1 of that show on TV, the one that you were in season 2." And it's like, oh my goodness, it is him. And so, like, we go up to Paul. We never met before, and I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, "Excuse me, are you Paul Owen from Shutter Speed Photography?" And he's like, "Yes, I am." And we sat or stood and chatted with him and his wife for a good half hour. And I just feel like we became friends right away. And we started shooting, I think, together shortly after that. Sharing studio space and creative ideas. And then one day he's like, "We should do a podcast." And I said, "You know what? We absolutely should. We absolutely should." So I just feel like this podcast and my friendship with Paul is just another really awesome spinoff from the show that we were on. So yeah, so it was a really great experience and continues to be a great experience in my life. So here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's how we kind of got to know each other. Actually, Kate has got a studio at her house, at her beautiful home. She's got a 200-year-old house that she's in, and every room has its own personality. It's just an amazing place. If you ever need to get some really cool shots done, Kate's house is certainly a place to have it done. And I have a studio in my basement. It's not as nice as Kate's, but I play a lot more with background stuff that I kind of create in the house, and whereas Kate's got hers automatically set for herself. So anyway, so those are some of the things about us, and so let's talk a little bit about some of the things we're going to do now. Some of the things we're going to do is we're going to be looking at photographs, and I'm going to pull one up here now. And just give me a second here. If I do this, there we go. And I have a photograph that's up now. And this is a photograph. Well, I guess before I even get into this particular photo, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing on this podcast. Is we're going to be taking some photographs, and it could be ours, it could be yours, it could be somebody else's from, from wherever. Because what we're hoping to do is to find some really cool photos, find out who the author was, and then have them come on our podcast here, and then talk about their photo and why they took it, how they took it, and all that wonderful stuff. And then that way there we can be enlightened by what it was that they found and they did for photography, and what got them interested in photography, and just learning a little bit about photographers at every level. We don't consider ourselves real professionals. I don't think to the point where we're going to New York and traveling the world, but we are photographers that certainly do a good enough job to get out there and take some great photos, and we can do a lot of different varieties in our photos, that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of that going on, and so we're hoping to again that to share that with you guys. So so now I'm going to chat here about Kate's photo. Now that's what we have up on the screen right now. And this photograph, when I first saw it, I was just like, it was probably one of the photos that took me the most in terms of how I felt about a photo for the first time, seeing
Mhm.
it. And this one is all about light. and about, as Kate calls it, dreaminess, because it's a very dreamy kind of a look, which is actually what Kate strives for in her photographs. So, what's interesting about this one is the first time I saw it, I got exactly what she intended in the photo, which is a really important thing as a photographers because we're storytellers and we want our viewers to be able to interpret the stories that we tell and get the same kind of vibe that we give off. That hopefully that they get too. Might not be the same interpretation, but at least get some kind of a feeling from it. So Kate, maybe you can talk a little bit about this photo and how you took it and what was in your head.
Sure. And thank you so much for your kind words on this photo. It really, it's such a compliment to a photographer, and I feel like any kind of artist, if something that they produce has such a visceral reaction from people. And I know this photo for you is one of those photos. Um, and so yes, a friend of mine, she wanted to have her photos taken in this room, which I use as my studio room at home. And ever since I moved into the house, I noticed that the west facing windows on that side of the house, especially in that room, there's a very long door with glass panels in it. And the shafts of light that come through that room are magical. They have like they're almost solid, like they're so beautiful, and they fall on the floor and through the windows. And so I was just thinking it would be great to do a shoot in there with the right person. So she showed up in this beautiful lace romper. It had long lace sleeves, and she has like these beautiful long um, hands. And the intent of the shoot was not to have her lay on the floor and put her hands in the light. It just happened after she sat in the light, and I could see the way the light was moving around her head and her shoulders when she was sitting there. So I said, "Oh my gosh, like you should lay down and put your hands up into the light." And the way the light moved around her fingers as she just gently moved her fingers, in my head, I feel like I could almost hear like a gentle, like a chiming kind of sound, like a gentle chime in the wind is almost how it sounded. It was so real to me. And so yes, I took the photo. I think I used a 50 millimeter lens, kept just her hands in focus, and just wanted to make it like maybe a hazy memory or a dream of something that you've done or you've thought of, or I don't know, just taking, I wanted it to take the viewer to another world and have a pleasant feeling about it. So anyways, according to Paul, I guess that's what he may feel. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, while you were talking about that photo, I was actually showing both. I was showing the one of her by the window with
Yeah.
the flowers, and then after that, how you thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool? And you had mentioned too that you had used some smoke to do this, eh?
Yeah, I actually rented a haze machine to really put definition on the shafts of light coming through the window, and just to give it like an extra dreaminess. So,
Yeah,
and that's kind of, yeah.
yeah, it certainly did that. What I If I'm looking at it from a technical standpoint, and I think we talked about it before, it was when I looked at the photo. I suppose any photo you look at, if you look hard enough, you can find something. But I'm not looking at it that way. When I look at the photo, what I see in the photo, where my eye goes, how pleasing the color is, how amazingly creatively that you took and were able to put the focus on the hands, fingers, and the main beam of light, and everything else in the photo was just nicely blurred out, nicely darkened down. The balance in this photo was absolutely amazing. The skin tones were just beautiful, and the fact that you've got that door and that window light coming in, just made the photo for me. And like I mentioned before, this is the kind of photo a place like Shutterstock or some company like that would probably be happy to have a photo like this, because it's a photo that I think a lot of people would be interested in using for a lot of different things, because there are so many different interpretations that can be taken from that photo with any kind of slogan you want to put over top of it. Anything
Oh,
from a
wow.
dreamy thing to I'm reaching for the light, or whatever the case may be. There's lots going on in that photo, and when we used it for that workshop, the light workshop that a couple of weeks ago, there wasn't a soul in that place that looked at that photo and didn't feel the same things that you did as the creator of that. So to me, that photo is definitely a home run. and I think that's what photography is all about. I'm going to turn off the photo and turn us back on again. Here, you just give me 1 second. Get my mouse back to where it should be, and there we go. We're back. So, yeah, so that's what I got out of that photo. And as Kate said earlier, her I guess intent is to shoot photographs that are like that, that are dreamy and just, and I don't know what other word to use because it describes it perfectly. Um, Anyway, so I'm a totally different shooter than she is, and I'm just hoping that in our relationship that I can get some of what she has burned into my head, so I can see things the way that she does. Um, because it's just there's anyway that's an art to do, be able to pull that off. That's something that you have built in for sure.
Thank you so much, Paul. Those words mean a lot. And the reason I really enjoy our partnership with photography recently is your obsession with controlling the light is so good because sometimes I go almost a little too much with just, oh, if it feel, I'll just wait till it feels right. I'll shoot that, or I'll do, maybe put a little extra time into the post processing to get it right after. But you've really already just, shown me the importance of not relying on the window light because you never know, is there gonna be a cloud? Maybe the weather won't be the what you expected it. And just like I said, like the competition show kind of started to peel back the scary layer of I don't know how to use like indoor light and studio light, and then you've just made it so fun. There's no right or wrong way. It's just kind of getting to know what's available and making it do what you want it to do within, without having to rely on external sources. So I've been really liking that. It's taking some of the stress out of my shooting sometimes because even though I might produce an image that seems it's so zen and it's very, dreamy, chances are like I was probably pretty stressed out, like hoping that the conditions would be perfect or you know what I'm saying. So but I know we've talked about maybe um bringing our viewers down this road or people who want to interact with us on the show about, taking the scariness out of editing and, you know,
Mm.
just what it looks like to get that image that you want, how what it looks like to be true to your style and maybe, figure your style out based on different editing techniques. Even sometimes it's hard to tell if a photo is edited. So you may be, stuck in a rut or afraid to post or share your photos because, oh, I don't know, like I don't want to edit them or I don't want people to know that I edit and I don't know how to make them come out of my camera the way that I see it or the way that I want it. Um, that's such an easy switch to flip flip. If you really want to, play around, for me, my editing, I know what to do right away now. So it's not like, oh, I don't know what to do. I pretty much know what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just something that's come up in conversation a lot in different photography circles, like hobbyists and professionals, just different levels of the editing is sometimes can be a sore spot or a point of embarrassment for some people. Yeah, do you
Yeah,
find that?
yeah, it can be. The funny thing is, if once you learn how to do it, or at least do it to the point where you can be satisfied with your image after you're done, it, you learn those techniques because a lot of photographers will shoot in the same kind of way. They have a certain feel they want to get, certain look they want to create, like you mentioned in our talks earlier about creating your own signature. And so when you put out a photograph, they can say, "Oh, I know whose photograph that is." So that's actually a good thing to do. But once you've done that, then you've kind of worked out your workflow. Now you got a workflow. Okay, this is how I'm going to shoot the photo, and this is how I'm going to edit it when it's done. And so you'll probably know as the more that you shoot and the more that you edit, you get to the point where you're going to know exactly what you want out of the photo. You're going to look at the room. You're going to look at your conditions. You're going to look at your model or your scene, whatever it is you're trying to shoot, and you'll know. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is where the light needs to go if I'm going to use artificial light, or this is where the subject needs to go if I'm going to use window light and all of that stuff. So those things only come with practice and time.
Yes.
And if you're not willing to put the time or practice in, you can be a pretty good photographer, but you're probably not going to be a great one. And I liken that to hockey players. I'm a big hockey fan. Sidney Crosby wouldn't be as good as he is today and continues to get better if he didn't
Mhm.
practice all the time. And he also goes to other people to get coaching.
Yes.
I don't know that you can become a great photographer all on your own, and you really shouldn't because it's such a journey to go through this whole process. But it's the people that you meet along the way that you get inspiration from.
So
And then
true.
all of a sudden you might see something or meet somebody like I did here with Kate with this photography situation and learn so much about, okay, this is not technical. This is her shooting is not I mean, there's technical things involved, of course, but it's all about an image and a feeling and a mood that she wants to create, and that's first. And when I was learning my side of things, it was more the technical things. Okay, how does a light work? Where should I
Yeah.
put it? How do I do this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
So now that I can kind of do that, now I'm trying to learn a little bit more along the lines of what Kate offers in terms of her just automatic ability to be able to see an image. And but now, if I do happen to see that, I'll know exactly what I need to do to light it up. So yeah, so we kind of we'll trade those things off. But the big thing is that for you folks out there, it's really all about how we can bring you into our world and perhaps teach you things, and of course have you teach us things. And I think that's probably the more important thing. And Kate had mentioned something about doing some kind of a thing where you could have somebody send a photo in and then we could reimagine it. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, I'd love to. We would love to share maybe our photos, or if you want to send us in some photos that you've taken, and tell us about your process. If you're open to, oh, okay, I would have done this, or perhaps this. Maybe you want to send in your photo with questions of, hey, this is what I did, but I really wanted to do this, or I was trying to do this sort of thing to it. I feel like that's where like the big learning is going to come, even for me, because it can also just be. I feel I may be going on a limb and saying this, but I do feel that a lot of photographers are introverts by nature, and so feel it can feel intimidating sometimes connecting with photographers who you may think like, oh, they're better than me, or maybe more experienced for sure.
Hmm.
And it can also be hard to put your art up for critique, to put it in front of people. Like, we totally get that. So this is a very safe space. It's not about, oh, you did this wrong or you did whatever.
Hmm.
Like, it's just a conversation about, you know, technology, or it's just a conversation. It's not a critique. It's not a contest. It's not anything like that. So I know for me, I would love to I would love to show you some of my raw photos and then walk you through how I got to my end point, and just show you
Yeah.
how, I'm not walking around. I mean, I am, but I'm not walking around in this literal dream world of like beautiful cones and like mist and purples and grays. Unfortunately, we all live in the same province. So I'd love to show you though how I can create that world. And I know, like, I'm Paul with his. I'm thinking like his landscapes and his beautiful nature photography that you may think, oh, that's not edited. You might be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And the thing is that the only person you should be in competition with is yourself. Is that okay, here's my photo that I did the last time. This is the best my best effort. Now how can I make that better? And you do that within yourself. And then, if you do that, you'll never worry about anybody else's work because it's really your own work that you want to improve upon. And the only way to do that is to get inspired by other people and by practicing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put up on our screen now our address, and it's called Snapshots and Stories at Outlook.com. And so if you have some photos that you would like for us to talk about on the show, please send them in. Also with maybe a little bit of story on how you took your photo, what your inspiration was, that kind of thing. Or if you have a photo that you want to have reimagined. So in other words, here's a photo I took, but how in your mind, meaning us, how could we have made that maybe a little different? And I always say that I'm not trying to improve a photo, I'm just trying to reimagine it. So in my mind, this is maybe what I might have done. Let's have a look at it. Maybe we'll do a quick little edit on it and show you, a little couple of things like that. And then from there, hopefully you'll be able to, look at that and say, you know what? Yeah, I never thought of it that way. And the same with us. when we put up some of our own photos, please comment on them, because even if it's something that you see technically wrong, I'd be the first one to say thank you so much for pointing that out because I
Mhm.
never noticed that. Because we get
Mhm.
so tied up on a certain aspect of our photo, sometimes we miss certain details, and then other people looking at it, with different eyes, will see something totally different. So those are the things that we're hoping that we can communicate back and forth with. And again, so you send your photos into snapshots and stories at outlook.com. And again, any suggestions that you might have that you would like to see Kate and I talk about on this broadcast. What do you think, Kate?
That sounds great. I'm really excited to get our first interactive session.
Yeah, it should be a
And if
lot of
we,
fun.
yeah,
I'm
and
just
you
gonna
know what? If we get crickets the first time, then we could do that for each other's photos.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're going to take and we're going to be recording our first few shows only because we just want to make sure that we get all our technical bugs worked out. And then we're going to be going live in a period of time. And then that way there we can actually interact live with you. So as we're talking about things, we can talk back and forth. We'll have it set up so that you'd be able to comment and then we can talk back and forth with you. And it'll be sort of like that now because we're going to, for the time being, we're going to be broadcasting this out on Facebook. And from there, when you see this video, and if it makes sense to you, or if you like what you see, if you or have ideas that you want to put on it, just basically tap and comment right in the chat on that, and then we'll be able to see that, and then we'll come back, we'll look at it, we'll look at each and every one, and see what you guys have said, and that'll help us put together some content that'll to keep you guys interested in watching. So I think that kind of covers what we were going to do today. So, Kate, any closing things you want to say before we sign off?
No, I think I said everything, and just looking forward to getting going and see how this takes off.
Perfect.
So I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And again, it's, snapshots and stories at outlook.com to contact us. And we'll be really looking forward to hearing from you. So until the next video from Kate and I, we'll see you then.
Bye.